Okay, Mass here. I will start out with this presentation here.
Fantastic.
And I'll just let you know when you shift slides as usual.
Yes.
So we are Wasted, doing videos on sustainability, trying to
Mads, are you live?
Did the first slide have something important, or is it because I don't know how to go back here? Yeah, oh, there we go.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So, go.
Sorry, I think I was muted. I'll just start over.
Yes, very good idea.
So we are Wasted, and we are doing videos on sustainability, mostly on consumer levels. I guess we'll just jump right into the next slide, and I'll take you through it. So our creed and value has pretty much been the same since we began producing and uploading these videos. So from the very first video, we have pretty much outlined that and aligned that values and creed from throughout the following videos. Some of our core values, or the creed of our videos, are to provide information on sustainability and objectively compare beliefs and real data. What we have called the perception versus reality, basically. So trying to give facts on something that people might have perceptions on already, and just try to zoom out and see it in a broader perspective. The values we have tried to underline and emphasize in these videos are the following four here. Educational, so to give straight facts on a certain topic. Content diversity, meaning that we change from different topics and themes every time. So we basically try to cover as much as possible. And we haven't tried to implement an entertainment element as well. So making it a little fun, of course, that's subjective, but we've done our best. And upload consistency. Of course, we have been pushed to do that, but trying to upload every week so people can feel contribution from our side. Okay, next slide. So in terms of user value, we have tried to underline or mark out two very important aspects. We've come across it already, but in this theory of Boss Tepe, however you say it, we have underlined one, which is social significance, more specifically social prestige, and lastly, impression management, meaning that we try to provide facts that people can use basically in everyday conversations that can help broaden people's perception on sustainability and how it really is. And we have an emotional factor as well. So the pleasure of watching the videos, of course, again, this is very subjective, but we have tried to make it a little fun and gotten some nice feedback on that element as well in our videos on YouTube. Yeah, next slide. In terms of revenue stream, our main target was not to provide, we wanted to provide data and information over profit from the beginning. So basically we're an NGO providing videos and information that people can use in conversations and just to learn more about how to change their lifestyles, for instance. And in general, we would aim to get as many viewers and subscribers so that partnerships with YouTube would be an opportunity. So keeping it simple and doing something useful with the money aligned with the whole sustainability element. And we therefore have tried to make these videos as short as possible. We saw the outcome with the partnership video, which we'll hear about in a minute, that were a little bit longer than we have done prior. And we could see that the views were not as good as on the previous videos. Yeah, next slide. Is anyone else feeling like presenting something here? Oscar, Isaac, Didlo, are you there?
Let me jump in. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Like most of the other groups, we did a partnership video as well, which ended up we just had a little exchange and discussion about the influence on ourselves and our bodies because we were playing a drinking game in this video. But we had a lot of fun collaborating with the Goofy Girls in our video. It was quite a challenge for us to actually fit it in some way in our way of doing videos and the way we did it. We actually tried to, we calculated the amount we could have driven in a car somewhere to a nice place with the amount of alcohol we drank, just to calculate the impact of our consumption on the planet. So while also having fun, it was kind of dichotomous, but it was fun. And we also had our last video, which just got uploaded yesterday, where we were presenting a local food store called Lös, where there's like the zero waste concept, and everything that you buy, you have to fill it somewhere yourself. You can also borrow stuff there, but Isaac showed in a very cool way how he does his daily or weekly grocery shopping. And yeah, then we also used our network, talked to friends, other content creators, and sadly, because of Corona and all the other shit that went down, we couldn't extend it to the full scope to which we might have wanted to extended it. But there were some really cool opportunities, but now we try to make the best out of it as possible. And I think the collaborations were really fun. Also showed us what didn't really resonate with our viewers. I think drinking isn't the way to go when we're talking about sustainability. I think especially the video we uploaded yesterday had a lot of very good things that were said about it from the community. But yeah, still partnerships are very useful in the early stage, which we are now. And talking about the theoretical background, I think on the next slide, Isaac will jump in and tell us a little bit extendedly on how we use this for our channel.
Yes, so as we formed our group, we saw the internal dialogue mostly follow the mover-follower field, much like the other groups that discussed their process. And we had a very random paradigm authority, so there wasn't really one person leading things. It kind of just shifted around to, you know, whoever spoke the most, I guess you could say. This was, I mean, there were some positives and negatives of this. Everybody had a voice, and nobody was really afraid to jump in and give their opinion. And we had a pretty interesting dialogue that cascaded naturally, and it did build a lot of rapport in the group. But some of the negatives were that, you know, we got a little sidetracked often, and we like to talk about things that weren't always on topic, which wasn't as good for our group as it could have been. But on the contrary, you know, we really did get to know each other quite well, which was also very important. With the subscribers, the field never really left the politeness shared monologue field, and that was a little discouraging because we wanted to kind of create a controversial dialogue, because we know sustainability is something people like to say they're doing, but when it comes down to really doing it, obviously a lot less people are really practicing sustainable actions. So I guess we could have been a little bit more aggressive with our comments, our commenters, and kind of challenging people on their beliefs versus behavior, but we didn't get to that, so maybe next time. And then for our partners, we found that working with the Goofy Girls was, like Oscar said, it was, you know, quite unique. And what we wanted to do was create a level of respect that incorporated what they were doing with our vision, which couldn't have been, our two visions couldn't have been farther from each other. Ours was quite serious, theirs was quite just casual. So the best we could come up with was let's do something that follows their values and then figure out a way to tie it back into our own. And so, like Oscar said, we developed a way of incorporating the measurement of our fun in a way that's sustainably related. So, and it worked out for the best, I think. Next slide. So under the PSSC format, looking internally, the membership was basically defined that if you showed up, you got to play the game. And everybody who really did get a lot of ability to influence what was done. And that basically came down to what did we want to do? And so that also came down to how much you could contribute. And some people had more time and ability than others. And because of that, it, you know, the influence was basically part of that. And we had a very shared emotional connection. We were all in it, you know, together. So it was a very collaborative experience. And then at the end, we were all responsible for the end product, the finished product, and we were quite proud of it, I think. Our main takeaways in terms of organizing growth, we really felt that building the foundation was probably the most important thing we could do. And none of us really had a very strong foundation with one another before this. And we really developed an intimate relationship with one another. And that took precedence. Honestly, we really had a good time hanging out. So while we might've been a little off topic, we definitely developed a relationship that then could be taken on further. But despite our channel, you know, we definitely feel more close together, and as well with the Goofy Girls, our joint venture partners. So we could have been a little bit more productive with our dialogue in terms of challenging what field we were currently in. Like I said before, we didn't really get out of the politeness field. But I guess that's what we'll have to figure out in our paper is what kept us from doing that and how we could move forward in the future. And I think that's the last slide.
Yep, that's the last slide.
Yeah. So that's it for us.
Super, excellent. And question time. So I'm quite curious about, it's a nice observation that you see, well, we didn't get out of the politeness field. And that is quite an interesting observation, given that you are taking a topic that would normally, it would normally not be problematic with this particular topic to create like breakdown fields on social media. So that's very interesting. It's like to exactly to see how come. I do think that when I watch your videos, I do think that you kind of you do challenge some beliefs, like you know, Denmark think that have a self-image about being like a leader in sustainability, and you kind of challenge that belief and stuff like this. That could potentially have generated some debate. So I think I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of explanations you come up with there. That's really nice. Then with as I mentioned before, when you say it's important to build a strong foundation, my immediate reaction is define what you mean by foundation. When you continue talking about it, you started talking about relationships. So it has to do with relationship and the kind of foundation you have when you sort of like have a good time. Yeah. So that's nice. I think you can define it even further. Like, what does it actually mean, and be as concrete as possible. It's like, what exactly is it you see when you where you go like, this is what I see and hear that tells me that we have a good foundation. And then the last thing, I'm not really getting to the questions here. The last thing is you say the collaboration video worked out for the best, but you also said drinking and sustainability didn't seem to be like that good of a match. So I would question whether it actually worked out for the best. I'm curious, when you look at the collaboration, can you use some of the theory on partnerships to sort of dissect a little bit the match? Like, how would you do that? That was a question.
It's an interesting question, yes. I'm just writing everything down, so I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm a little off topic, but yeah, I think it's just a good question for the exam, really. I think that we have to ask ourselves, because for us it was just plain and simply, we didn't look at it too much from the theoretical point of view. It was more that we understood, okay, it was fun for us to do it, and we enjoyed doing it, but the general feedback and the views were much lower, and the feedback was much less, in contrast to the other videos we produced who had a different topic. Of course, we tried our approach, but still, it was a very different way of filming, presenting, and everything. And even though it was probably the most fun for us to produce this video, the others seem to resonate better. And I guess looking at it from a more theoretical perspective, I don't know, Isaac, if you have any ideas on how we would put it at the moment, but I think we just have to look more into it.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was really no convergence of purpose, and that's kind of what I was getting into with talking about the, you know, the 4-player model and the field of respect. But you know, looking at it from a partnership perspective, there was a lot of distance between them and us, and you know, we tried to embrace that distance, which was great for, you know, the personal development of our relationships. But in terms of growing a community outside of that, it didn't do much, as Oscar was saying.
Yeah, and I think you're right. It's like this experience does show you something about the importance of convergence of purpose, and I think you can take some learnings away. Like you know, you tried to make something, but it was a bit sort, right? It was a bit like sustainability in terms of like, how much can we drink before it's not sustainable, or it's like you're trying to find that connection point, but it might be a bit forced.
And it was forced, and I think
it was forced, definitely, but it's the only thing we could come up with in like 2 hours brainstorming on how we could make this work. So
yeah,
and we also realized that when we were putting the video together, relating drinking alcohol to driving a car probably was not the best
again, I think, but again, it's interesting because again, you are doing something where you go like, that should be able to generate debate.
Right? You'd think, right?
So it's almost like I'm getting very curious how you make these videos and manage to avoid debate. It's almost like a skill, right? We're putting out these things that really, in a way,
well, I even went so far, and I apologize to kind of shout this out, but somebody on that video yesterday posted something nice, and I had enough. I'm like, why are you being so nice to us? Somebody in our team. I'm just trying to stoke debate, and of course it didn't, you know, it was nothing personal. It was kind of a joke. I don't know how they took it, but it's like, stop being so damn nice. Can somebody say something a little controversial here?
Yeah, but that's interesting. That's interesting. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with in your papers of explanation with this. Cool.
Thanks.
Thank you. So let's see, polling time. Where do we have you? Here we go. And here we go. 1 minute and go. Cool. Can we get to 30 responses? One more. 5 seconds. Okay, let's do it here. Boom, and share the results. So you might not have managed to create much controversy, but well, people, maybe this explains it. People can see themselves as a part of, many people, 76% can see themselves as a part of the community. So maybe if they see themselves as part of the community, they don't disagree so much with you. Who knows? Now you have it, and you can take screenshots, and then maybe you can use this for something. Good.